Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Den of Kings. I am your host, Goddard, and my other host,
Gabe.
my other host. Are you a little tired today?
It's been a long day. It's a lot of school and a lot of film.
Yeah,
too.
that's true. That's true. Today we're going to be looking at our 2-2 draw with Antioch, and we'll try to break that down a little bit. Hopefully give a little bit more insight into the game, and hopefully you guys had an opportunity to watch it, but it kind of stings a little bit when you kind of look at some aspects of it, but we'll get into those details a little bit later. How are you feeling post match?
I'm feeling better. I mean, it's more of preparation of what we can do with this little time that we have. I mean, I know games are every 7 days, but it just never feels like it's enough time. But with this, especially with school, trying to do half and half, but I think we'll be ready for this home game. We just got to talk it over with the guys on, what were some of the mistakes that we had and what were the things that we did do correctly we should capitalize on and continue for the rest of the season.
Perfect. Okay, so before we go any further, we're going to have to tell everybody to like, share, subscribe to our YouTube. Let us know, probably let us know where you're watching the content from, and also leave a question in the comments and let us know if you have any questions. Do you have a question for a player? Do you have a question about anything in the organization or what the team does? We want to hear from you. So like, share, subscribe. We would love to hear from you and hear from Southside Nation, which I wonder, we'll have to figure out the name for the fan base. Granted, that's probably not on us, but I don't know. Maybe we can coerce them into a name. Southside Nation kind of sounds like super basic, but I guess it doesn't have to be like amazing.
Yeah,
but
we'll figure it out, because
actually, you know what? We'll that'll be the big question. Ask the fans. What do you guys want to be called? What does the Southside fan base? What is the name? Okay, and actually, before we continue moving forward, I got in some a piece of merch, so people gotta peep this. Peep this. You gotta admit that's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. I think people should go get it. Like, head to our website.
They should.
Yeah. SouthsideFCKC.com and click on shop in the menu to get your gear now. That's just one of them. I'm working on a couple more pieces, and hopefully everybody will enjoy what we've got coming. So I feel like I'm kind of trying to divide them out by designs. I think, the fearless. I'm gonna call it the fearless line. The fearless line. That's because that's what it's titled. So
I think if it's, like you said, the fearless back line for our back four that we have, if it's.
But yes, get yours now. I've got those in t-shirts. I've got them in ivory and in white. The ivory's sick. Having it in ivory is sick. It's sick. So sweatshirts, hoodies, t-shirts, it's all there. So go check it out. All right. Let's get into this. Let's talk about this match, because I know there's quite a bit that kind of happened in that match, and I guess there's no better place to start than the beginning of the match and how that kind of went. I know that we went down a little early. I not necessarily go too much into specifics, but just kind of tell me, what do you feel like happened in general leading into that first goal? Because I believe it was like 5, maybe 6 minutes in. It kind of seemed like it was a little bit of a shock to the system. Like we weren't quite, ready to hit the game running.
It was minute 4, yeah, minute 4 and 30 seconds around there, minute 4. Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing is, you know, a lot of times, sometimes you start the game in both ways, depending on what kind of team you are, right? You either start everything relaxed, let's get loose, let's start, let's see what we can do, let's see what this team has to offer. Unlike Antioch, the new team, the underdogs. I guess you can say they are the underdogs in the aspect of their new team. Nobody knows what kind of team they are, kind of like I spoke in the last podcast. And that's the dangerous part. Nobody knows who they are, and they don't have much to lose on that part. When we came second, and at the same time are known for one of the most scoring teams in the league, we have a lot to lose at that point. So they came out attacking a lot on and they just kept pressuring, and eventually, in 4 minutes they caught us off guard, unfortunately, and they capitalized on it. But after that, for a good amount of time, they kept pressuring. But we knew, Coach Jan and I knew that once they scored this goal, we knew that our team was going to adjust and basically say, "Hey, they're pressuring. Let's get it out of the way." And Coach Dan and I knew that our team was going to adjust, and we knew Antioch was going to get tired.
For sure.
And that's when later in the game was where we capitalized.
Yeah. And so, kind of as an overview, and maybe for those that hadn't quite seen the game yet, I probably should have started with this, is the overview of the game, as he's kind of mentioning here, was Antioch scored first. And so leading that first half up 1-0. And then really, a big performance, or big, statement performance by Roma coming in and getting his debut minutes and debut goal and an assist. So scoring about a minute into the second half, and then about 10 minutes later, Marshall ended up scoring, and then about, I want to say the 75th minute, something like that. Antioch ends up tying it up, and yeah, somewhere in there. I'll have to go back and double check, but somewhere about the 75th minute they ended up scoring, and then it was tense. We found our rhythm, we were applying pressure, and unfortunately we just couldn't quite bring it home. So it's a matter of a difference of 3 versus 1 point, that we're bringing home. So okay, let me see if I can who, in terms of Roma, let's start there. Let's start with Roma, because I felt like he came in and changed the dynamic of the game in the second half, and quite quickly. To be honest, I didn't know how quickly he'd get up and running to get his goal, and what kind of impact was he to that game coming in. Just talk about his impact.
Yeah, so I mean, I will say he did have a giant impact, especially because you can say, in 1 minute, he scores that goal, because David sends it to, I believe it was Aiden, and then Aiden just swings it over and sees Roma wanting that run, which I spoke with some of the players saying, hey, the minute you see a guy you make that eye-to-eye contact, and he's making that gesture of, I'm going to go run for it, send it. And I know in the first half, that's what we kind of lacked of, where communication. A lot of the guys are new on the team. Like I said last podcast, half of our team is new, which are also integrated in that starting 11. So it's always, I don't know if he wants me to send it, or I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know if he's trying to do a fake run and then kind of check back to me. So those are the mistakes that we had. But when I spoke with the players, and maybe these players speaking with themselves, it was a big factor of, we trust each other and let's move on. But with Roma, with that first goal, he gave a little bit more of a glimmer of hope when it came to that. Because yes, we did play a little bit better when it came defensively on the first half, but unfortunately we couldn't capitalize on, making any, actual threats when it came to trying to on the final third on trying to score a goal. And I know we kind of lacked a little bit of speed up top as well when it came to that final, like inside that box area or trying to get inside that box to penetrate in there. And I knew Roma, even though he's a winger, I knew with his size and the center backs that Antioch had and the speed that he had versus the speed that the center backs Antioch had, I knew he was going to be able to go over that. But in general, another key player for us that kind of got the middle moving around was Ramis, with kind of adding a little bit of oomph to that midfield, trying to get them involved with that attack so they can keep feeding to Roma, which a lot of the times they did keep feeding to Roma, or a lot of our midfield, were just passing it back and forth, making Antioch turn in circles, and then we would send it to their wing to send it to a cross, which did work. We just didn't get it to behind the net,
For sure. There were what I believe to be a couple of, key moments that really flipped the game, whether it was adding wind to our sails or deflating it. But to you, what do you feel like were maybe two big moments to you between it being 1 point gained or 2 points lost?
In the matter of like,
so let me rephrase this. So what do you feel like were some pivotal moments that really changed the face of the game between us winning it versus drawing it? Like where do you think those big decisions were, instead of walking away with 3 points, that we're now walking away with 1?
The biggest picture would be of, one of the main reasons why I would put that, why we didn't win, was a little mixture of almost of everything, right? I'm not the guy who puts the blame on only one sole thing, unless, it's blatantly that one thing, right? For example, if I threw the worst lineup in history for some reason and I said, no defense, all attackers, then yeah, that's the blame on me. But throughout the game, it was a little bit of a mixture of everything, because the first half, we can say, we're a lot of familiar faces with unfamiliar faces, getting to know each other more on an actual real game scenario, and then not putting enough pressure, or not pressure, but just like I said, some oomph to the game. Even though it was like the first 4 minutes, sometimes those first few minutes are very important, which we saw. Now next time we'll be ready for that. But this could have been a game where it could have ended 4-2 or more than that, with in the second half us capitalizing more on our transitions when it came to attacking, our counterattacks, or building an attack. There was many times where everything looked clean, we just didn't get behind the net. Or there was a couple times where there was an offsides that, if you look back at film, wasn't an offsides, but the ball went behind the net. Ooh. But, sorry. All right. Anyway.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. I mean,
anyway.
Yeah, I'd say check your pants just to make sure you ain't got no issues.
No, I was moving my legs, and the leg had the lever and made the seat go all the way down.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry. Anyway, there was that offside where one of our players, already started making that run. The ball was already in play, and they called it offsides. But when we finished the play, goalkeeper was still playing as if it wasn't offsides, and we scored it. Right? It's not like the goalkeeper let it go. It was an actual play where players were running in. That could have been one. There was a controversial call at the end of the game where one of our players was getting pulled and tugged and got hit from the back, and then no call there. But like I said, that's little pieces of stuff here and there of things of on our side, and then things maybe if things would have went right, then we would have been up just because of those those other situations. But sometimes you kind of have to not depend on those situations, and you have to capitalize on yourselves, because we can't always depend on other factors. We can only depend on what we can do, which is where we fell short on that 2-2 draw.
Yeah, for sure. I think, by the way, we need to probably take a moment and just kind of say, like, congrats to those that made debuts, right? Like, we had several debuts, select leagues, Southside debuts. So, I mean, let's see. Dylan Hernandez, Jackson Rainforth, Sabino, Roma, and Miles made his debut as well. So, kudos to those guys coming in, filling in. They're definitely already showing that they're already showing their worth, which is fantastic. And the fact that they can come in, fill in those gaps, and we can still be a strong team on the field, moving the ball around. It's fantastic. So I'm excited to see them take the field at home, because we'll have a match on our hands against Liberty coming up here pretty soon, because I know that they've improved their team. So, but I don't want to necessarily jump into the preview, but we probably, though, it would be a good idea to chat about or let people know the results of the previous match days, which I think this year the league's going to be a lot more balanced in general. There weren't really a situation of a ton of blowouts this time around. So I'm really curious to see when we play those teams what that looks like. But just so people are aware, Woodland and Crown Villa played. Woodland, the defending champs. It looks like they took care of business. They won 4-0. And then there was a match between Real Overland Park and Leewood, and that was a 2-1 to Overland Park. And then there was Northland versus Lenexa, and that one was a bit lopsided scoreline wise, but 8-3, I believe that was in favor of Northland. So big victory. So actually, because of that victory, they are on top of the table with a +5 goal differential at the moment. So be curious to see, for myself, how their team has changed and looked different. And then lastly, obviously our match. So I think because we're the only game that drew. And so, and then lastly, no, I forgot Olathe and Liberty. Olathe and Liberty 2-1 to Olathe. So some balanced scores there. I'm really curious to see how these teams are going to come in and play against us. And I mean, we're gonna make the Den a fierce place. I just hope that we can kind of keep up our form at home, because really we have only having 2 defeats all last year at home. That's not easy. I think the only team that obviously had a better home record was Woodland, and Woodland only lost once at home. So, we're definitely wanting to defend the Den, and make sure that we really let teams know, when you come here, you're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to show up.
Yeah.
You got to be ready because we're not gonna let you make this. We're not gonna make this easy for you. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to kind of dive into next week's preview. By the way, we probably should get a player on here. Chat with them. See how they either talk about last week or talk about.
We might have a chance with two defenders possibly willing to hop on our call. So two really good defenders, if I do say so myself.
Okay. Yeah, we can sort that out later. But I think it would be great to have one of the players on here chat with us, kind of gain things from their perspective and how they feel about things and what they're looking forward to. I think it only makes sense with this being a Southside podcast. It would make sense to have the players and coaches, staff, just kind of gain a sense of the club in totality. So, and who knows, maybe one of these days you might flip the script on me and be like, I'm interrogating you. Okay.
Before we do end this episode, I do want to highlight, at least for the viewers, who are maybe a little bit, don't want to go scrolling and trying to look for the game or watch the whole game. Maybe they just want to catch this clip. I do want to highlight to the fans out here of, the goals that we did score, at least to show that, if on a bad day we can score 2 goals, imagine on a great day, I only say that, but let me screen share, if that's okay with you, Goddard.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's see, screen share. All right, can we see that?
Yep, looks great.
All right, just in case, that's the guy with the ball. All right. See David. Gets it Aiden.
I think that's a good little switch there to kind of change it to play, and then and the strength from Roma, like you can literally see his arm being tugged
back.
You can see him being tugged, and the fact he fights through it, and just fights through it. I've got to say before we move on, I've got to quickly point out the vision from David there is great. The fact that he can kind of see that cross ball, that switch to kind of help open up, and then Aiden to quickly be able to get out of his feet up to Roma really quick is a nice seamless play.
And that's exactly what I was talking about, earlier when it came to, the guys finally understanding, hey, with the new guys, trust me, when I'm making that run, send that ball. Don't hesitate, because that 1 second hesitation turns into an offsides, and we can't capitalize, which happened a couple of times in the first half. But, in the second half, we understood, the objective here, and we could capitalize here. And then this is the second goal that we have coming up here. So, there we go. So we come off a foul, Rome over there, makes him dance a little bit, and then just a nice,
that's nice
finisher.
That's nice. 12 yards out, just cleanly threw it on the half volley. I mean, are we surprised? I mean, David had a half volley that was up for Southside Goal of the Year last year. Like, are we surprised? We shouldn't be.
No.
This man can smack a ball coming out of space. This man, he'll hit it cleanly, and you're gonna get a banger out of it every time. So, quality, but technique by Marshall, but there's no surprise. There's no surprise. And I love that he's that late runner into the box that he usually can be that second, sometimes even third option that you just don't even realize, and he's just there. And all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, what are we gonna do? So I think teams have to be careful about that he knows when to pick his moments. And he'll punish you.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
it's fantastic. It's fantastic. So, all right. Well, let's wrap it up there. We appreciate you guys tuning in again. We are. Oh, actually, before we wrap this up completely, I need you to name me 2 standout players from the game yesterday, in your opinion. Let's do that.
Let's go with Roma because he had an assist and a goal. I mean, you had to give him his props on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I'm still going to go with my 2 players that I said earlier. I'm going to go with Roma and Ramis. I think when we kind of added Roma, it kind of added that, what we needed in the final third. And then when we added Ramis in that, in his position, I think it kind of got the midfield working and kind of trying to be more creative on that side and really brought more attacking and, really didn't let Antioch get the ball. So I would say Ramis and Roma was my 2 players, even though I want to say everyone, but you only give me 2. So I can only give you 2 right now.
Yeah, I mean, of course we would want to say everyone. But I for one player, I liked seeing Sabino in the midfield. I thought he filled in some pockets well and knew where to find those pockets and really kind of help us move the ball a little bit. He would be one other name I would throw in there. Obviously, we can't throw everybody because everybody has different roles and different abilities than the next, and everybody makes up the team. But that's a name I would throw out there. So yeah, all right. So let's wrap it up there, and we appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of Den of Kings. We are excited that you'll hopefully join us next week on Thursday, or not next week.
This week.
This week,
this Saturday.
Thursday.
Kickoff at 6 p.m.
Well, yeah, first of all, kickoff Saturday at 6 p.m. Blue River Parkway, the soccer complex. So kickoff at 6 against Liberty FC. And also, we want you guys to tune in Thursday because that will be our pre-match game preview. So then that way you can kind of hear some of the details going into that. Not only about the game, but maybe some things that might be a last-minute reminder to you. Also, don't forget to get your tickets. You can get them at Southside FC KC. Go into the menu and click tickets to buy your tickets now. So they're up and running. All right. So we hope to see you on Saturday. But until then, be easy.